What's good, y'all? It's your boy Biosparta 3.0, keeping the action going with part 3 of the lyric breakdowns for Who Am I? Alright, guys, I'm sorry. I know it's been a minute. I apologize for being away for so long. I know I haven't dropped any videos recently. But, we are back, and I appreciate all you guys for sticking around with me. Yeah, we're going to jump right back into the lyric breakdowns. I want to make sure that I get through this entire song. My first song off the sophomore album, Silk Made Vol.1. So yeah, we're breaking down Who Am I right now. Want to make sure I get through this entire breakdown, and then after that, we will jump back into some figure reviews. I definitely have quite a few figures that I want to show you guys, and as well as some other content that I want to, put onto the channel. So yeah, we're not gonna waste any time. We're gonna get straight into this, pick up right where we left off. So, in the last video, we were starting off verse 2, so I'm just going to basically jump right back into that breakdown, and we'll go from there. But I just want to say I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you guys have been, doing real good since the last time we spoke. But yeah, let's get right back into it. So, breaking down verse 2. So, at the beginning of verse 2, we have lines that say, "Stay cooking in the lab like Breaking Bad. Developed a special chemical concoction, my lifeline in a battle. And they want to know how I get through it. I get real technical with the physics, and I use web fluid. Guess you was tired of trying to figure out how someday you'd be on your own, trying to make ends meet or end up paying the price. Another day in the life till I was given powers that I acquired as a later surprise." All right, so that's like basically the opening of verse 2, or like around the beginning part. And then just to break that down, I'm just basically going to read you my breakdown right here. So I'm always cooking up new rhymes and concepts like Walter White and Jesse Pinkman cooking up meth from the show Breaking Bad. If you've never seen it, that's basically, the premise. And then, a spider uses its spinnerets, which are like those little, if you've ever seen like a picture of like a spider's abdomen, like those two little kind of triangle or like cone shaped things at the back, like around its butt area. Those are spinnerets. So the spider uses its spinnerets to produce silk strands from a chemical soup within its abdomen, whereas my brain holds the soup that forms these silk made lines of mine, right? So my brain basically has all the soup that cooks up these, silk lines that I'm, spinning for rap. So I love diving into the mechanics of rap like a technician. As a kid, it was stressful and draining thinking about how sooner than later I was going to have to make enough money to provide for myself and get nice things for my family and my girl, right? I wasn't sure if I would have a job that was adequate for such things. And sometimes I did doubt myself, sometimes a little too often to put in the extra effort sometimes. And if I didn't have the money I needed, I literally end up paying the price, right? Like not having somewhere to live, etc. So I just wanted to be a kid as long as possible. That was like my mindset for a long time. I didn't want the, responsibilities of being an adult, because, life moves so fast and every day was more of the same thing, trying to hold on to like the bliss of just being a kid until I got truly motivated to work for what I wanted when I, honed these rhyme skills. So yeah, that's basically that breakdown for that. All right, so then we will jump into the next section. And yeah, I apologize, guys. This I had to do this a little bit differently. Let's see here. We're not looking at it as like a Word doc like we were on the first set of breakdowns because my computer kind of updated and it kind of got rid of the old form of documentation that I was using. So I'm probably gonna have to just get like a new Microsoft in order to continue that. But anyways, so yeah, these are some screenshots from Instagram. Oh crap. Okay, sorry. Yeah, this is all. Let me see if I can shrink this down. Sorry about that. This is all in my. Okay, hold on one sec, guys. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so here we are, yeah, with the second part for the breakdown. This is still verse 2. Let's see. It's kind of, it's a lot to get into the camera. Back it up just a little bit here. Make sure we got all of that. Okay. Sorry. All right, there we go. So, basically, bring this back just a little bit. All right. So the next part to break down says, and yet somehow I still feel like I was born with a super soldier serum or high intensity formula, natural performance enhancers while I'm searching for my origins answers, keeping up my conditioning under abnormal circumstances. Don't want to hurt my chances of being better. I became a vigilante that was solely out for revenge, gave into a rage I hope that I don't salvage again, working to save, and I stay up hours on end, way further than words on a page. Y'all can't see me, but know I'm there, like when you hear the sound of the wind. All right, so to unpack that, although I didn't get good at rap until I practiced for years on years, it's become so natural to me that it feels like this was in my blood all along and I was destined for this, right? God always has a plan. So you could compare my abilities to performance enhancing drugs for the average human ability, kind of like the Green Goblin serum, right? Developed at Oscorp, or Captain America's super soldier serum. So that's kind of like what I had in mind when I was writing that super soldier serum or high intensity formula line. Just like how Peter Parker became enraged after the death of Uncle Ben and hunted down his killer, I used the rage I had inside to diss and terrorize my bullies on the mic early on. While in the moment, it felt good, right? Having that raw sense of power. It didn't feel the greatest afterwards at times because I had stooped to a level the same as them and I lost sight of being calm and rational. So again, rap means a lot more to me than just rhyming words. I truly believe music saves lives when you tell stories that remind people of their humanity and ambitions for greatness. So some days I might be up quite late plotting on a new rhyme scheme or concept of a song because I want people to have that affirmation that good things are still more than existing here on earth. And then the next part to break down says, this ain't for personal gain, the fancy shirts or the chains. I'm trying to learn a new language, let it surf through your veins. Mary Jane to me, below the surface is plain. I'm more into women that be really working their brains. So to break that down, I never started rapping to become famous or anything of that nature, right? Never had any like real interest in being famous. I wanted to make an impact. That was the big thing for me on the people who heard my music in the form of inspiration, to remind them to be creative and that they are not alone. And let's get to the, sorry, I had to take like multiple screenshots in order to get to all of this. So let me zoom out here. Okay. So yeah, here's the next one. So yeah, there's, let's see, what was, so yeah, people know that they're not alone in their struggles in life. So, you know, it doesn't mean that I won't sport nicer clothes or jewelry than usual from time to time, right? But the materialistic items are minuscule to my goal with rap. So, you know, my goal was never to like just portray that lifestyle of having, you know, flashy things and, just like materialistic, very like shallow type of stuff in the content of my music. I never really wanted that to be like the main focus. I wanted obviously there to be substance in what I was writing and to talk about like the deeper truths in life and, you know, the experiences that we go through as humans. Obviously, you know, shared through my experience, through my eyes. So, and then let's see, yeah, and then the redheaded MJ, you know, Spider fans know from the comics is a cool character, but in the films and shows she's been portrayed as either dumb or of average intelligence, which isn't a bad thing, right? But I prefer the girl that thinks for herself and is able to put things together, like say Gwen Stacy, right? I think I prefer her and Peter's relationship over MJ's. That was, after all, his first true love in the comics. So, which many people overlook because Mary Jane is so popular, right? You always hear and see Mary Jane usually the most. But yeah, I've always been a much bigger fan of Peter and Gwen's relationship. Excuse me, personally. So, yeah, that's just me. And then the next part says, if somebody's going to be ringing my cell phone, I'd much rather it be Michelle Jones, right? So this is an obvious nod to the MCU version of MJ that I fell in love with because, well, Zendaya. All right, I love Zendaya. I've loved Zendaya ever since Shake It Up. A lot of y'all don't know about that. That's before your time, all right? But Shake It Up was a show that used to come on Disney Channel when I was coming up, and that was the first thing I ever saw her in, and I had a crush on her back then. So you can only imagine that, as time has gone on and she's grown up, I've been even more attracted to her. But yeah, notice the background shout out of her name. So yeah, if you listen to Who Am I, you can hear me like in the background around this part say like literally shouting Zendaya, and that's actually a clip from when I went to the Spider-Man Homecoming premiere. I'm trying to think, was it Homecoming or Far From Home? I think it was Homecoming. Yeah, I went with my sister to the Hollywood premiere of Spider-Man: Homecoming, and that was the first time I actually saw Zendaya in person. Her and Tom, they were walking the, like Hollywood Boulevard and whatnot, and it was all blocked off. And yeah, she arrived, and I was recording obviously, and then like I was like Zendaya, I was like, like everybody was like calling to her and stuff, and I yelled her name, so I had like a clip of that, and I decided to just throw it into the song right there for a little extra finesse. All right, so now we are finally on verse 3. So getting into verse 3, it starts off with, let me pull things into full swing. I'm going to be honest. Look, my life is a walking comic book. I got to be in the lead with a speed that'll leave even Sonic shook. So first of all, I really love that rhyme scheme. That just kind of like came together, and I love the imagery of those lines right there. Let me see here. Sorry, I put that down a bit. But yeah, so I'll just break it down. This intro line to the third verse is to establish the beginning of a full-on Spider-Man, right? So by the third verse, I'm like fully embracing the Spider-Man lifestyle. The first two verses are kind of more like the Peter Parker version of me, right? Just kind of the regular, everyday version of myself, regular clothes, just regular guy strolling the streets, doing normal things. And now we're getting into like me fully embracing the Spider-Man lifestyle, right? Being embraced, getting the hang of things while having fun, of course. So to get something into full swing, right, is to get it completely going or underway. But I am quite literally swinging over the cities, right? Like Spider-Man, like I'm into full swing, right? So I'm swinging like Spidey now. And often Spidey pulls on his web lines to project or launch himself into a swing, right? So sometimes like you see that a lot in like the Raimi movies and like a lot of the cartoons. Like a lot of times Spidey will get a running start, then he'll shoot his web up and kind of like pull on it a bit to launch himself upwards. Or sometimes he'll straight up like shoot a web between two buildings. Like he'll shoot a web to buildings on opposite sides of him and like pull them back so that he can like catapult himself forward to get somewhere faster. So yeah, that could also be a nod to that. And then gotta pull the line back, like peeling the layers back for the bigger picture, right? In these breakdowns. And then I've always been a comic book fan, and although I didn't own many growing up, I always enjoyed seeing them in media or reading like excerpts from them, especially if it was Spider-Man. So my life always felt like one, like a comic book, either that or a let's see, sorry. Either that or a music video, right? Very cinematic. I love making the story grand because why not, right? So, life is like sometimes life feels like a music video, right? Like you pick everybody has I feel like at some point seen themselves as like the main character, right? And that's not I don't think that's like necessarily arrogant or what's the word? Not arrogant, but I don't think that's like self-centered or anything. I think like we we all, have seen ourselves at some point as being like the main character, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's our story, right? This is our experience, as we go through life. So, you know, and sometimes, it's you can like put yourself almost like in like a music video setting, like you see life going around you, and you might hear like a certain song in your head or whatever, but like you're in the moment and you're taking it all in, and it kind of feels like a music video. So, right, I like cinematic things like that. I love making the story. Oh yeah, I already said that. Sorry. Sonic the Hedgehog, right, is a character we all know and love, right, who is quite the speedster. Well, I'm putting my speed to the test to be even faster than him if I gotta be, to keep people protected and empowered. So, Sonic, what's up? You got some competition. All right. And then the next part to break down says, acrobatic combatant, I made flipping a habit, flying through the city with some intricate gadgets. Wall crawler, a strong but small brawler who you don't want at your neck like a dog collar. All right, so Spidey has always been quite the gymnast, right, in both the air and on the ground, contorting his body into shapes that might seem unnatural, right? Because he's very he moves in like unnatural, very spider-like ways. I myself have a decent range of flexibility. Flippin' is a double entendre here because it means the literal sense of the word, as well as the ability to flip a diss or negative thing said about me, right? So essentially having the power of rebuttal in both language fights and real life situations. I've practiced and prepped for anyone who might have something to say about me or my mission in disrespect, and easily throw it back in their face twice as hard, if not more, right? So, I mean, that's just part of a thing when, especially in like battle rap culture. I grew up watching a lot of different battle raps, just to like kind of get my lines a little more clever and like more on the spot. I've watched a lot of different battle rap, and so that's obviously like a big thing. Is like, when you're going against your opponent, you want to be able to like quickly rebuttal anything that they say about you, like flip it back on them, right? So, if they say something, like if they insult you, you want to have like a more clever insult, like almost already ready to go, like be able to feed off of what they're saying and actually flip it back onto them. So that's what that was about. And then let's see, do 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 do. Where is it? Okay, yeah. And I know how to make the best out of even the worst situations until I get right. So the intricate gadgets line is of course in reference to my web shooters, which lyrically would be the equivalent of my brain that thinks of all these web lines, right? Mentally, my mind is on the go like clockwork, coming up with new rhymes, linking them together. I've always been a skinny kid, so physique wise, I'm like a young Peter Parker, or those drawings of Spider-Man where he is more lanky than buff or super ripped. Think like Todd McFarlane or J. Scott Campbell style, or even Mark Bagley, right? Those are typically like a lot more lanky Spider-Mans. I have lean muscle definition, but not much, right? Not much size or large muscle mass. I never was into weightlifting until college, and even then, I didn't lift super heavy. But I am, quite strong. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I'm quite strong though, despite my size. So, especially after years of lifting, I used to go to the gym a lot with my homie, and he's pretty strong. And he doesn't even look like super ripped or anything, but he's definitely like stronger than he looks. And he used to motivate me to go to the gym with him, and we get our workouts in, and I definitely built up a lot of strength, especially in like my first year of lifting seriously. So there is that. Again, I don't like to fight, but I will if need be, and when I do, my opponent won't want me at their neck like with a tight grip like a dog collar. So that's what this next line is gonna say right here. What we got? Like a dog's collar. So yeah, that was that line. Offensive tech, or sorry, before that, wall crawler, a strong but small brawler who you don't want at your neck like a dog collar, right? So obviously that's referencing like some of Spider-Man's powers right there, being a wall crawler, and then a strong but small brawler. That's just going back to the point I just made about how physique wise I'm like pretty small, but I'm actually like quite strong despite my size. And then you don't want me at your neck like a dog's collar, right? Dog's collar wraps around the neck. So there's that. And then the next part is offensive tactics. I mentioned that, which comes off as a montage of mad quips to get you laughing, distracts them from the fact that my diction of backflips plays a major role in the beat down like an ad lib. So I really love this section of lines, or like this rhyme scheme right here. It kind of came to me like last minute. I can like quite literally remember putting this scheme together. I was like in my room, trying to finish up the song, and I remember like this line came to me as I was sitting on my bed, just trying to like think of like a dope way to say this, and it came to me perfectly. So I loved how it came out. But I purposely pronounce offensive as offensive, right? So that you, the listener, would envision the attacking role in a sports game, right? That's the first impression I wanted you to have. So instead of saying offensive, I say offensive. In a sport, as say basketball, where the offensive team is looking to score and undermine the opposing team's defenses, Spidey is a man of strategy, right? And knows how to use his enemy's weaknesses and even their strengths against them. The following lines break this down further, but offensive can be heard the other way as well, like to offend someone. Spidey is known to throw clever quips at bad guys and villains to distract or throw them off their game, and I essentially do that with my entendre-filled lines in rap, especially in this album. So diction is basically word choice, right? That's what that means, and how you use your vocabulary. Sometimes what's being said can take all your attention away from how it's being said. So in rap, I feel those two are equally as important because delivery is an art within itself. Your flow as well over a beat can make a huge difference to auditory enjoyment, right? So ad libs are typically background words or phrases shouted in a song to hype up the vibe, right? So beat down means the actual beat of the song laid down on the track, as well as the physical auditory beat down my enemies get on the mic from my web of words. So that's basically what all that means. So like, a lot of different like wordplay in those set of lines, and that was the point. I wanted to like play around and really show like some of my lyrical skills. So things like offensive, and then mad quips. We all know Spidey is like one of the greatest quipsters of all time. In the comics, he's always throwing out clever lines and funny little comical stuff to get his enemies off their game. So I definitely had to implement some of that in my writing as well. All right, and getting to, let's see. Oh no, we just looked at this. Let's see. Let's see this one. Okay. Now, hopefully, I think this might be the end. Actually, no, this can't be the end. Is this the last one? No, there should be one more. I might have to do that in the second part of the video. But anyways, to finish this one off, hopefully I didn't skip anything, but one of the next lines to break down is with great power comes the great responsibilities of a real MC. So you all know where I'm going with this one, but you can see the breakdown is kind of long, but I'm just going to read through it. So we are all familiar with the famous quote that has been a classic trope for even everyday good people, right? The original quote isn't even quite what is said in movies or media, but it's a philosophy that highlights what Spider-Man is all about. So best believe I had to allude to it. And then, as much as Spidey holds a moral obligation to do the right thing with his powers, I believe the same is true for real MCs. MCs are in an area separate from the common rapper, in my opinion. Just about anyone can put together rhymes given enough time, but MCs tell unique stories, painting real visuals with their words and conquering the multiple aspects of rap, right? Wordplay, flow, tempo, storytelling, entendres, etc. Beyond that, I think real MCs have a positive impact on our culture and society. So the songs being made are not just songs, but stories of wins and losses, pain and suffering, triumphs and lessons learned, or in its simplest form, inspirational accounts. So I think people often downplay the importance of music in society and history. When you think about it, music, hip hop in particular, plays a huge role in shaping society, especially the youth. It's the reason I strongly dislike a lot of this mumble club music or Girls rapping about shaking booty, exploiting guys to feel validated as queens. Same thing can be said for the men rappers, right? Like vice versa. It's all a bunch of manipulative mind games and gaslighting in rap nowadays, completely redirecting the focus away from what's actually important, communication and growth, right? So, a lot of shitty excuses to not do the hard work it takes to heal and better each other has been present too long in modern music, I feel. So I take the game of hip hop very seriously and will not play with its integrity or allow the nonchalant nobodies to do that either. So, you know, not to sound arrogant or anything. I know I said nonchalant nobodies. Obviously, they're not nobodies, right? If they've made themselves, successful or big names, there's obviously a reason. But I think at the same time, you have to consider the fact that the industry is designed to, push for certain things. Like they have a certain agenda that they're trying to push for their audience. And I think a lot of the content that goes into mainstream rap nowadays is just it's ridiculous, man. It doesn't feel very genuine, very like heartfelt to me. It's not a lot of the content isn't anything that would like truly inspire people to become like better versions of themselves. I feel like it's just a bunch of nonsense and for like short just for like like quick satisfaction or temporary relief, but it's not music that has like an overall lasting impact, I feel like. So I want to be able to kind of come in and change that. So yeah, and then so call it gatekeeping, but I'm gonna do what I have to because I put that on my back. So yeah, just to kind of further that point, yeah, I think you can't call yourself the Spider-Man of hip hop and not have a responsibility to put the best music you can out there, music that's mentally stimulating, right? So whether it's evoking like a certain emotion or just getting you to think like in a new way, I think that that's like one of my overall goals as a artist. And so that's definitely what I like aim to do when I'm writing my songs. And yeah, just like again, I don't really resonate too much with the mainstream music that gets put out nowadays. Not to say that there aren't any good artists like that I don't like or resonate with their message. I think obviously there are. I'm a big J. Cole, Eminem, Kendrick, Stan. I love those guys. Just to name a few. Who else am I rocking with? I like Joyner Lucas. I like lyricists. So basically anybody from like TDE or Dreamville. I could rock with those guys. Trying to think who am I not mentioning? JID. Ransom, if you guys have ever heard of Ransom. He's a little newer. Who else? Who am I not mentioning? I know there's a bunch of artists that I'm not, thinking of right now, but I basically the point I'm trying to make is that I love lyricism. So I love guys that actually care about the craft of writing bars and putting thought into what they write. And the ladies too, there's some dope female MCs out there right now too, like Samara Sin, who else? There's some people that got a dope pen, and like I guess you wouldn't technically classify her as like an MC. She's more of like a singer, but I think that she definitely has like a hip hop style to her. Jessie Reyes, I love her. She's got a great voice. And then on top of that, I think that she can write like some pretty nice kind of like clever lines, especially being that she's had like features with a lot of like other very esteemed rappers, like lyricists like Eminem and stuff. She's had features with, so I think she definitely has some of that in her. But yeah, man, that's pretty much what I wanted to mention. This will be like the first part of the breakdown. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure there was one more section to break down on this to close it out. But I guess I didn't take a screenshot of it because I'm not seeing it here. And I think we went through pretty much all of the other ones, right? Let's see. Yeah, we talked about this one. I'm just doubling back, making sure I didn't skip any screenshots. We talked about that one. Let's see. Yeah, we talked about that. Okay, and then we talked about that. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna check right now. I wish I could do it while I'm still recording, because I think there would be like maybe only like one more slide that I need to break down. But yeah, I would have to. All of these are like on my Instagram page, so I'd have to go to my Instagram right now and check to see if there's another page that I need to break down. But for now, I guess that'll be it for this breakdown session right here. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you've made it this far, leave a comment down below, man. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts about the song so far. If you've heard it, please definitely let me know. Again, the link is in my SoundCloud. I'll have it in the description as well if you want to check it out. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, man. I'd love to hear any feedback about the song. Did you enjoy these breakdowns and whatnot? Do you have any questions? Feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will do my best to answer it quickly. But yeah, this has been a very fun process for me. This is one of obviously like the most exciting songs that I've ever written, just because again, it's establishing the whole my whole sophomore album, which for a lot of artists, that's typically like your biggest album is your sophomore. So you always want to go like real big for that one. And yeah, I'm really excited. I think it worked out. I'm blessed to have come as far as I have with rap and whatnot. And eventually on the channel, I'd like to break down my first album as well, which was Progress Persona. And just to give you guys like a little, I guess we'll call it like an Easter egg or whatever. I'll just kind of like break it down for you guys. Progress Persona, which was again my first album, it was specifically named Progress Persona because I wanted the title to have two P's in it, just like Peter Parker. And then my sophomore album, this one that I'm breaking down right now, Silk Made Vol.1, that the initials for that are SM, right? So Spider-Man. So you think about it, right? First album, Peter Parker, Progress Persona. Second album, Silk Made Vol.1, Spider-Man, right? So you can think about it as like Spider-Man Vol.1, but that was the purpose behind choosing those titles for each album. So I kind of had I thought about that even as I was like still releasing my first album, and hadn't really like began writing so much for my second album yet. I was scheming on the second album like way back when, but even when I was still in the process of releasing the first album, that's kind of like where the thought process was at as far as like the titles. So I just wanted to put you guys onto that. But yeah, and then yeah, I guess that'll be it for now. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching again. Please again leave a comment down below what you think, any thoughts that you guys have. I'd really be interested in hearing. And let me know, like, what are some of your songs that you guys like, especially if you're like a hip hop guy like myself, or a hip hop guy or girl. Let me know what are some of your favorite artists. What are some of your favorite songs from those artists? I'd love to hear that. Let's get a chat going down there. I'd love to talk about hip hop, man. I can talk about it all day long. But yeah, let me know who are some of your favorite artists. What songs do you like from them? And yeah, we'll have some conversation down there. But I thank you guys so much for tuning into this. And if there does happen to be another part that I need to break down, I'll have that uploaded by tomorrow. And by this weekend, I should have some figure reviews up as well. And I'll update you guys a little bit on what's been going on lately. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been your boy, Biospider 3.0, keeping the action going with part 3 of lyric breakdowns for my song, Who Am I, off my sophomore album. So thank you guys so much for rocking with me. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.